What do you think is more dangerous to the country, drag or guns?
Drag, for sure.
How come?
It's poisoning the youth. That's what's going to run our country. It's scary.
But
Guns is my right. I know how to handle them. I've taken training. I've raised my kids. Guns are our primary. It's our right, our Second Amendment right that I refuse to give up, and many of our people refuse to give up.
not even just talking about. I'm just talking about the danger. You talked about how it's poisoning our kids.
From law-abiding citizens, and the thugs and the criminals are still going to have their guns. I want to be able to protect myself from a thug or a criminal. I want to protect, if I'm in a school visiting my grandkids and there's a shooting, I want to be able to pull out and stop.
But you just said it. If there's a school shooting, as far as I can tell, people haven't died from drag, and that's why I asked the question.
Look at the transvestite that went in and did the school shooting. Come on, it's a mental health. It's mental health, is what it is. The mental health, and the books that are in our schools. So many things have got to change in our country, and Trump is making the change, and he's my president, and Biden, he don't even acknowledge in my brain as president.
Let's talk about pronouns, which a lot of people are talking. Does that impact you at all? Do you care about that?
The spiritual side of me, God's word, and I'm a believer of the Bible. In his word, it tells you exactly what's right and wrong. They have to answer to him just as I do.
So you're going in to see Trump speak now. Do you see him as a good Christian?
From what I know, yes.
Do you see drag, not gender issues, not pronouns, not that, drag as more dangerous than guns in the country?
I don't think it's dangerous, but it's
Son just gave an uh-oh. What was the uh-oh?
Well, so I would say because I think this happened a while ago back in Texas where they actually had drag queen shows, but kids were able to go to them. And
right.
When you start bringing kids into the thing where they don't know reality and they don't know fiction, where they believe in Santa and Santa's not real, but...
Wait a second, what?
But this is probably going more into the gender issue, but I feel like drag, it's fine, you can do that on your own, but when you start bringing kids into this thing where it's kind of a little bit more provocative, and now they're kind of dressing, in these types of ways, it's not really okay for children to be around those things.
And you go to school every day. Would you feel safer if a drag queen walked in to read a book, or if you knew that somebody had a gun in your school?
Well, I think because I go to a private school, so we have a Marine there, ex-Marine that carries a gun, and we have safety precautions. So I would say someone with a gun, I would feel safer because they are protecting the children in the school, and it would be less likely for a shooter to happen there.
When we think about guns, yes, Democrats want to take away guns. They've been at that for a long time. But when I think about drag, it's more the ideology behind it. Even with biological men who want to participate in women's sports, if we start to okay things like that, where do we stop? And so when you talk about even kind of going against the status quo and that kind of stuff, I just think if we allow this sort of stuff, we set a precedent that, we start here, the longer it goes, the more drastic it can get, the more out of control it can get. And where do you draw the line? Where do you stop? So,
what's a bigger problem for America, do you think, drag or guns?
Drag.
And why is that?
I would not want my kids to be anywhere around drag.
But what about guns and people buying them, and assault weapons and all the death it causes versus drag, which, let's face it, not a lot of people die from drag?
Well, then I think that's how people get mentally ill with all the drag stuff that's going on. Weapons are not going to walk out of the house and kill people. People do it.
So following that logic, drag would make people sort of sick in the head and lead them to get a gun and do something.
I believe so, yes.
I believe that people should express themselves how they want, but in the privacy of their own homes. I don't believe that they should push it on to people. And for the question about guns, I believe that we should kind of stick to the Second Amendment.
I feel like putting the wrong thing on kids, especially how they're doing it nowadays, how they put it out as, it's an option, and then, they really say, like, this is how you're supposed to be, rather than whether it's like, well, you can fall into this category and be this kind of person. It's kind of crazy now how they're pushing it on them, rather than, just putting it out there as, like, you can act this way if you want to.
What about the debate over pronouns that we hear about?
I'm going to be 80 years old tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. And what does it mean? I have never seen anything like this in my 80 years. I've seen a lot since the 1940s when I was born, and this is the worst. What do we mean pronouns? I mean, there's an X and Y chromosome. Are we going against science? I'm not a science denier.
Okay, so were you a vaccine supporter?
Zero.
But science made the vaccines.
What science? Who made the science?
I mean, doctors.
Science that says there's stuff in this spike proteins and other things that are in these vaccines that are harmful to us. Why do we have such a spike in myocarditis in young people? Why?
So are you? So that doesn't disqualify you from supporting Trump, who was really the godfather of the vaccine?
He did what anybody would do at the time. It came on quick. He tried to do the best that he could. I don't hold that against him.
Yet you think that the vaccines weren't science?
Zero. No.
But he supported them, and he's considered the godfather of the vaccine.
That's just an expression. I'm not buying it. I don't buy it.
What about social issues, pronouns, things like that? Social issues,
pronouns and stuff like she's a she and she's a she. Are you she or he? Thank you. Are you a she? Yep. I'm a he. That's what I think about it.
What if they said I'm a they?
I would say to they. Where were you born as? A they or a you? That's the real question. Chick with a or a chick with a pussy.
Pronouns. How does that impact you?
Either you got a or you don't. You know what I mean?
What is it about liberals in America that upsets you?
As far as liberals, I would venture to say just the ones I've spoken to, and I have, they have no clue. They deny that transgender things are going on. They deny it all.
What's the most dangerous thing happening in the country right now?
That the kids are switching their genital or their sexual things in like grade school and stuff like that.
Do you think that's a lot of people that are doing it?
One's too many. So yeah, I gotta say yeah.
But one,
not even if the child, has a say in it, just whatever the parent says or whatever the school does,
What is it that you would like to see him do if he were to win again to make America great again?
First thing, go to Ukraine and Russia and just say stop the shit. And probably undo a lot of this, like we're going to let an 8-year-old kid decide that they're not a boy or a girl.
Well, do you think do you think that's a rampant problem right now in America?
But I think it's something that doesn't need to be being done.